We want our students to have a grasp of music theory, but they don't always recognize how it benefits them. So I'm going to show you some basic concepts that can be taught through play and how to turn that experience into deep music theory understanding. It starts with these 3 notes. The primary notes in a key can first be used as a technical exercise to teach hand-over-hand playing and use of the pedal. Notice I broke 1 up from 4/5, my left hand hitting the tonic each time. You also can add the left hand, right hand, playing all 3. It's good to get them experience doing both ways. That's the first technical exercise you can use. I also like to do coordination things where your right hand plays 1/4/5 in a loop while the left hand does it as well, but slower. A lot of fun to play, and it teaches students to rotate their wrists. So just these 3 notes gives them a lot of playing and maximizes their technique. The same 3 notes can be used as a functional lesson by teaching the difference between notes that have tension and notes that are resolved. Instead of building chords by counting up whole steps and half steps or skipping letters to find those triads, we can view the major chord as a resolution of the primary notes. It trains their ear, it helps them see the relationship between the notes, and adds to the hierarchy of which notes are more important, which notes are more centered around home. A simple way of using this section of my Function Finder worksheets is to have the student play all 3 notes at once and tell them to resolve that by lowering the 4 to the 3. And there they have their major chord. That's all they need to do. It just gives them that sense of function, that sense of tension, resolving. If students get used to these 3 notes a lot, you can use it as a means of note identification. I notice that a lot of my students like to find an anchor note like A, or they'll ask me, which one is A? And then when they're figuring out what the note is, they're counting up like this, A, B, C, oh, D, E, F, there's F. So they kind of hunt and peck that way, which is very slow. If they can learn 1, 4, and 5, what it sounds like, this is also a very quick exercise they can do. What letter is 4, what letter is 5, write it above the key. So they have 3 of those notes identified, have them find C, F, and G up the keyboard over and over. That reinforces their note recognition, and it's much faster than counting up from the letter A. The time that we do want our students to think in a straight line is when they're learning the major scale. I like to break this up into 2 parts, the tetrachords, and you count up from whole step, half step, 5, whole step, half step. But what we really want to do is to make this immediately practical for them. They're not going to really know why they're learning the major scale. That's why I like this worksheet. I put the blocks in here. They have to fill out the letters in the box, and because they did the part before, they already know 3 of them, well, 4 of these boxes, so they can fill out partially the major scale. The rest of it we'll use by adding in the notes that they learned by playing each tetrachord. So if they already have C and F written in here from learning those primary notes, you just play those 4 notes, or have them play those 4 notes and say, which letters did you just play? Okay, let's write those in the box. We're just associating the letters with the number so we can get them thinking in numbers when they understand what key we're in. The next part here is very easy to do. It gives them a chance to sit with the information that we just put together by coloring different groups. We're going to color code the keys. So you see my color codes here, 1 and 3, 4 and 7, 5 and 6. We use the chart above to color code the actual keys in the song. When we have 1 and 3 colored in, you can teach teach them that these are the home notes. They're home notes because they feel at rest when you play them together. Put the pedal down so it has a nice flowy sound. When you color in the 4 and 7, you can highlight that tension that's built in. So these are the notes that are deciding, that lead you back home. Because if you play these tense notes, they want to resolve on your home base. We're bringing back that functional lesson of tension and resolution. 5 and 6 are what I call the travel notes. So you have your home base, you push through that deciding note, and then we go to a location. Before you go home. These are a little bit arbitrary, but it helps make a story in the students' minds. We want 2 things out of this worksheet, the function finder. We want them to understand thinking in numbers. We also want to open up their imaginations. Both of these things help with memory significantly. It really helps them memorize songs quickly. These notes in itself can be an improv exercise. You tell them, play notes that are home. Add some tension notes. Take your song to a location. So any of those things can be helpful. I put all this in a worksheet called the Function Finder. You can get a copy of it in the description. It has a filled out version with all the crayon markers and a blank version that you can print out for yourself. Test it out in the lessons and see if it works for you. Also, if you're finding this information helpful, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I really want to make more information for teachers, make more resources available for teachers. Now we can maximize how much experience a student can get out of a few basic theory concepts. But how do we get students to see the big picture and really be motivated to work on their musicianship? The next video here will show you how.